Hello, I'm here to show you just some basic things about getting started with embroidery. So I've already traced this, but typically you would have a drawing of your embroidery. You can also find these sometimes for free on Pinterest or PDFs on Etsy to buy of these. So this is a 6-inch hoop. If you're drawing your own, I would trace the hoop first so you know what you're working with. You want to make sure to leave a little bit of space on the edges because you really can't sew super close to the edge of the hoop. Draw your image. And then if you don't have a light board, this is actually my daughter's, to trace, you can use a window. So I put my fabric on here, got your whiteboard, and I traced with a marker. This is a wash away marker that just really easily at the end of your project, you can take a washcloth or a Q-tip and just erase any of the showing lines. So to put it in your hoop, you would loosen it like this. You make it less tight. You want to line up as best you can in there. Place the hoop over it. Make sure it's really straight, and then you want to tighten it as much as possible. And then you would just make sure to pull all the edges so it works the best if it's really taut. And to do this up front, because especially in this Kansas one, if you tighten it, do it after, it might make it, especially these lines you want to be straight, they might make them a little bit wonky. And then tighten it as much as possible. After you do this, you'd want to trim down these edges, just because those can, if they're really long, they can tend to get like stuck when you're sewing. And so it should look something like this around the edges when you're done, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches around the whole thing. So you have enough space to gather it when you are finished, but not so much that it might get caught back there. Okay, so if you're ready to start sewing, I've already threaded my needle. And so this is about the only time I do this on a project, is I'm gonna have double strands. So actually 12 little, each of these strands of embroidery floss has 6, but because I've doubled it, now it has 12. I want my state outline to be really nice and thick. So I'm gonna put a little knot at the end. And then you start from the back. So I'm gonna start right on the corner, right over here, and pull all the way through. And then I'm gonna go to my next corner and pull all the way through. And then this one is called a back stitch. So I'm gonna come in from the back. You might have to poke it a few times till it's in the right spot. And I'm gonna put it back through the hole where I came from. And I'm gonna do that all around the outline of the state. So this is the most tricky part right here, is this edge where maybe there's a river in Kansas. I think that's what makes that shape. Okay, so I'm gonna move on. So you've seen those. You would just keep doing that all around this whole edge, then straight, and finish up right up there. But for the sake of time, I'm gonna move on to showing you how to do some petals. So this one will be just the 6 strand. I'm gonna put a little knot at the end of this one. And I'm gonna do the petals of my sunflower. So you will see it is a little bit folded over, and I just like to do that as I work to make it not so long to pull. And kind of as I work, I can make that go shorter. So I'm gonna come up through this edge right here. And I'm gonna make all of my sewing go through that top part of the petal. Kind of snagged a little bit. So then I'm gonna come down through the middle of the petal, and I'm gonna go up through that same top hole to make the petal thinner at the top. And I'm gonna do one more. It kind of crossed over. And I would just do that for all the petals, 2 or 3 stitches to just kind of fill in and going in that same top hole at the end of each of those. So pretend like I'm at the very end of this. I've used all that I can. This is how I would finish up. I've got a weird little loop in the back. That's okay. The nice thing about embroidery is that's on the back, so it's okay. I always just put it through one of my existing stitches, just loop it through there, and then pull it tight. And that would do it. And then I would just cut it right there, pretty short, and that's just how you would start and end a stitch. The way you'd want to just organize your floss is you would have these plastic bobbins, and so you just stick the end of the embroidery floss through one of the little notches and then just wrap. And so once you've got them all wrapped up, it helps to have a silver binder ring, and you can keep all of your embroidery floss organized on there. And that way, when you want to do some, you could take it with you if you want. All you have to do is you have your scissors, you take your needle, and I just kind of stick it in somewhere to keep it safe. You have this, and you can kind of take it wherever you need. So that's that. Let me know if you have questions.